Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being a part of the community. It's Dorita, your favorite forensic psychologist and clinical mental health counselor and training. So today I literally had to talk about this topic called trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is used not just in relationships, it's used in the military. It's used in abusers, kidnappers. And so pretty much trauma bonding occurs when a person activates the stress in you, right? Or you've already had trauma before. So, for example, say if you told a person you just started dating, hey, just so you get to know me better, this is stuff I've been through. This is my trauma. This is, I was sexually abused, yada, yada, yada. And this person that you're talking to is taking note of everything. And they'll tell you, oh, I'll never do that to you, blah, 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 blah. And you already having that trauma response in you, especially if it's not dealt with in the proper way, that you're going to latch on to anything or anyone that'll make you alleviate that stress from that trauma. So what happens is that when a person is trauma bonding with you, like after you told them that all the things you've been through, all the traumas you've been through, they're going to activate that stress again. And it's going to activate a fight or flight, which is in the limbic system of the brain, which is for the motivation of emotions. So say, for instance, you went on a date and the person you're in a relationship with or you're dating or whatever, all of a sudden they're like, I want to be married by like next 3 months. And hopefully it's you, if not, then we're going to have to just break up. All of a sudden you go into stress mode because you've done the love bombing. The person done the love bombing with you. You want this to work out. And especially if you have abandonment issues, that fight or flight or freeze is going to be activated and you're going to start to panic. So when that person sees that you're panicking, they have that control of you. They realize they have that control of you. And this is when that smirk might come into place, which I told you about that narcissists do, when they start to feel that they have control over you and can manipulate you emotionally. So when that happens, they're like, yes, I got her. And I'm going to continue to, manipulate her, gaslight her, and also just love bomb her to coerce her into what I want her to be and how I want her to be with me as a person. It's sort of like grooming you, like trauma bonds. It's like using your trauma you've experienced, your reactions to traumas you've had, and you see them as a positive identifying force to alleviate your traumas instead of you working through your own traumas yourself, so that you don't need that person to make you feel good about the things that had happened in your life and the things that they're currently causing in your life, because they're reintroducing you to more trauma. They're grooming you to be more abused like you were in the past. But they want to abuse you, but also be the reason why you recover from that abuse. When I say recover, it's a band-aid over a gunshot wound, because you're not healing, really. It's just putting something over temporarily until they rip the band-aid off again. And then all of a sudden, you're going into fight, flight, or freeze. And it's a continuous cycle. It's draining. It's emotionally draining. It's physically draining, to the point where you just don't even know what's going on in the world anymore, because you're so engulfed in trying to make that person happy. You have this really strong connection with them. So anytime they do something negative to you or something horrible to you, you will not identify that as being a trauma or them abusing you. It must be, how can I make this person happier so that they won't do this to me? What am I doing wrong? It goes into introspection about yourself, not about what they're doing to you. And it really upsets me because I went through this. Like, I felt at one time like the person, they loved me. And this was how I was supposed to be treated because I felt like I deserved it. And you don't deserve it. But you don't know it because you really haven't worked on yourself to that point where you're able to be happy and healed by yourself before you can be happy, already healed with someone else. And so when we don't get that time to ourselves, we don't get that time to introspect about ourselves and process all the emotions that occurred within the traumas that we had happen to us, we look for an easier escape. The mind is always looking for an easier way to escape any pain, any conflict, because it's the best way to do it. And sometimes ignoring it is what happens. So when you talk to someone and they want to know all about your past, they're getting the information so they can use it against you. Another thing is that they'll move way too fast. So if you're looking to please a narcissist, it's never going to happen because they're never happy. And so this trauma bonding thing that you have this strong connection. You guys are soulmates, twin flames. It's meant to be. Like, I can't see myself being without you. And they'll feed you all these things. Like, I can't live without you. They'll give you little sentiments, like notes and stuff like that you can keep on your walls to always remind you that they're always there, even when they're not. Like, oh, I love you. I choose you all the time. Yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, they really don't. Those notes are not really sentimental. It's more controlling factor to keep you on your toes all the time. So I hope I hope I'm not rambling. This is just something that was definitely on my mind today, and I really felt like I needed to say something about it. But trauma bonding is just used to build a really strong connection based off your traumas, and that person will so-called tell you about their traumas too, and will say, "This is what I've been through." But sometimes they won't even tell you the whole truth, and sometimes it's not even true. But they want you to feel sorry for them. They want you to feel like what they're doing to you is okay because they went through some kind of trauma and they never processed it. And so that's a reason for them to keep making mistakes about how they treat you. And it's really not. It's intentional. And they feel like, hey, if you keep on giving me chances, I promise I'll get better. But they won't. They'll give you temporary fixes that'll last like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then go right back into a whole nother cycle, and it gets progressively worse, especially when you get close to the discard phase and they're ready to move on because they're not getting that kind of narcissistic supply from you anymore. So I really hope this information has helped you understand what trauma bonding is. Please let me know if it made sense to you. I'm really speaking from my heart, and I'm speaking from experience. And, you know, I've been there, and I've learned, and I'm still learning. And I hope that you can learn from this video. So I hope you have a happy Tuesday. And thanks for taking the time out to listen. And if you like the channel, like and subscribe, and hit the notifications. I post every day. So thank you so much, and have a great Tuesday.